Hey everybody, John Ramsey and Robin Black here at Playdead in downtown Toronto. We are looking ahead to TKO 38. It goes down at La Tohu in Montreal on April 7th. Avril 7th.
Yeah.
Killer main event. Former UFC veteran Jesse the Body Snatcher Ronson takes on the hard-hitting Derek Gauthier, who looked enormous in his return to mixed martial arts. TKO 37, taking out the teammate of Jesse Ronson and Chris Horodecki's spectacular performance. Jesse Ronson, though, he seems to be on a different level. The guy, you can't judge things by paper. If you look at his record in the UFC, it's like, I think it's 3 losses or something like that. Yeah. All split decision losses. And it's like, I think
Ronaldo, like high-level guys.
High-level
and I had him
guys.
winning 2 of those.
I had him winning two of those fights, too. So it's just, you can't just look at the result. You have to look at what happened in those fights. And when this guy is on, when he is confident and playing the game that he plays, and he gets to be free, and he can do no wrong in the fighting game where you can do a whole bunch of things wrong.
There's something about Jesse that I like him. He's an interesting and cool guy, but mostly he's not quite sure. You get the feeling he's not quite sure what's going on in life until he stands in the cage, and then he is just, that is where he's meant to be. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
I don't know what it is. I love the guy. I was happy to see him. But, out in the world, he seems like, I'm not really sure what's going on. But in the cage, everything makes sense to him. And that's why it's beautiful to watch the guy fight, because that's where he's meant to be. That's what he's meant to be doing. And I also learned by watching Jesse and his teammate, Chad. Yeah. Sorry, Chad. Chad and I are friends too. I'm just tired. But Chad and Jesse, when we watched them develop, what we were sort of seeing was the future. They fight in a way that we saw Gunnar Nelson fight not all that long ago, that we see Stephen Thompson fight, that we see Conor McGregor fight. They manipulate space between you and them. And we've seen them develop that way for years. And now what they've been working on is now a part of the global understanding of fighting. And Jesse is one of these guys, and I'm a huge fan of his. It's going to be an honor to work with you and call his fights. It's we love this job. We love TKO. We love calling fights. But we do have favorites, not from a cheering for them standpoint, but from a being part of being able to see how it unfolds. And he and Gauthier are 2 of those. Yeah.
Gauthier, when you think about what he needs to do, is it just simply smash past everything that Ronson is going to deliver?
Yeah, well, the reason the fight is so cool is because they're both so interesting. And Gauthier, exactly, he will go in and he's a chainsaw. He's going to cut the thing down. He's going to hack it apart. And so you've got Jesse, who's, doing all this kind of flavorful, fluid, creative stuff, liquid kind of stuff. And Gauthier is going to he's like an attribute-based fighter, kind of a Michael Chandler type, or, there's an Eddie Alvarez type of fighter, where he's built around his incredible attributes and then filled it in with the skills necessary. So guys like that are very hard for these creative type fighters to fight. And we saw what he can do with just double pump and boom and drop Chris. And Chris Horodecki is a spectacular fighter. And I do hope that we see Chris back. I don't know where Chris is at right now, but I really hope we see him back in the TKO cage in the future. But this fight is fantastic. Gauthier is a very special fighter, and he is a big test for that crazy Ronson.
And one of the things that we love is just the overall vibe of TKO. They're there to put on awesome fights for the fans, and the fighters that they bring into this organization, they do deliver. And you know that some of the young guys are going to deliver in the future. 2 of the prospects, both Louis and Charles Jourdain, as well as TJ Laramie. But I think one of the fights you and I, we're interested in all those fights.
It's a big card.
But I think one of the fights that we're really looking forward to, a fight that just when you think about the future and the new generation and the new technology, is this fight between Derek Manchild Falk and Tony Laramie, 125 pounds. And man, oh man.
So Tony is 1-0 against another killer. And I think Derek maybe is 2-0 now, or he might even be 3. I think it is 3. I think he took out a couple of guys pretty quick. So why are we so excited about a fight between two guys with only a few fights? Because we're smart. But people are talking about TKO. Let me tell you, when I'm out in the world, I was down in Vegas. Nobody could believe the high level of fighting that's going on. That's the matchmaker Stéphane Patry has found the prospects. They also, these prospects and their coaches understand that if they are to be successful, they must take tough fights because they are not the only prospects in the world. There are 10 or 15 like that, all of which each believe that they have the one special prospect. Yeah. So if the only way you're going to progress past all of them and be one of the ones in there fighting at the next level a year or 2 years from now is test yourselves early. And the prospect who moves to the next level may be 7-3 by that point. There's going to be no 10-0 when you have this many spectacular killers. And these two guys are so complete. It's frightening right now because by the time you are a 14-year-old training in a gym, you have access to all of the knowledge of martial arts and human history. You may have a coach sitting there somewhere, like these two guys' coaches, Justin Bruckman and Reno Belcastro.
And Mark Hominick and all the team that helps these guys become the animals that they are.
So what you're looking at is the elite of the elite coaching minds who have access to the elite of the elite, young, hungry, driven athletes. And they're starting them out about where top 10 in their weight division was only 3 years ago. That's where they're at. Tony Laramie just fought a kid in Keith Lee. Kevin Lee's little brother. Kevin Lee is a killer. And they allowed Keith or encouraged Keith to come fight this kid because they know how unbelievably good he is. And they're like, there can't be another kid this good. And it's the same thing we're seeing with these two. Justin Bruckman believes that Derek Falk can and will win this fight. I'll tell you, Reno absolutely believes. These are among the best coaches. Awesome. The next level of coaches, and trust me, in 3 or 4 years, we're not going to be talking about the same coaches as we're talking about today. Yep. Not entirely. You're going to be hearing about all kinds of new names. Yep. And these are 2 of them. And these 2 young fighters, they're both going to be facing each other again in 3 years and again 3 years later at different stages of their career. And I tip of the hat and deepest admiration to fighters like this and coaches like this who take fights like this. Live on Fight Network and Fight Pass. This one is off the hook.
So many cool fights. Heavyweight Adam Ditska in action. Dimitri Wunderbar, Wardenberg in action as well. And a fight I'm sure we're going to talk about in the future. Xavier Alaoui and Mike Imparato.
Awesome.
Outrageous action going down April 7th. Get your tickets from TKO 38.
And we will be talking about this card 2 or 3 more times in the coming weeks. We're just getting your beak wet here.